to the Lake County School District number 7 Budget Committee meeting number 2. First order of business is pledge allegiance to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item, approval or amendment of the agenda. Any comments on the agenda?
I decided that to kind of spare for late nights and brain work, I thought we would finish off the agenda from the previous meeting, and then we would only have a few left on the third meeting next week.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
A second. There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda as presented. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, approval of minutes.
My focus is not there.
Do all that 240s and stuff, did
It's rather late. Rather late.
Are you ready for a motion?
Yes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes as presented.
A second.
Do it.
There's a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Any comments? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Operating procedures are the same as last meeting. I'll read them again. So, Fund 100, corrections and changes.
Yeah, okay, so, there was a few corrections. If you'll notice, there's a full sheet of paper as we go along, those are your corrections. They're laying directly on top of the section that needed to be corrected. So if you go to Fremont Pay, page 4, in your original, the gold sheet should be right before that. That indicates the 7,500 in repair and maintenance that we wanted to increase from the 4,000. Move on through, still in Fremont Pay, back to the art, there was a page in there, it says page 10, and it was for the art, area 1 for the art. There was 2 sub-areas that were missing in 61 and 62, those are now on the gold sheet. They were in our system, I just had eliminated when I printed it, so I missed those. Then, moving on, this will be in, your next one should be in Daily Middle School. Page 5, we wanted to take the 3,800 out of the dues and fees and actually move it to later on, which I think is the very next full sheet. Bear with me a second here. Should have been moved to 2210 in Daily Middle School. Oh, I did. I apologize. I skipped over it. 2210, so it should be page 1 of Daily Middle School. We added 3,800. So you'll see the 15,000 of travel, 1,000 and 3,800. It's simply just a move from further back on page 5 to page 1.
Okay.
Less confusing now? Sure. Okay, so, then moving on, we had, there was a question on the plant operation, this is in Lakeview High School, I apologize, page 4. Of the 2.5, that 2.5 actually is, the half FTE that will, essentially replace that Shauna Alexander scenario. I didn't realize that Patty had already stuck that in before I printed, so we confirmed that that half is also, which the other half of that is on Fremont Hay, so it makes us whole. So that's a proposed, possible hire. And then we also did a 12,500 increase for repair and maintenance for Lakeview High School, same page. Next is going to be the district office, page 1. And that was a proposal to increase the travel for executive administration up to 6,000 from the 2,500. And you can see that that's been moved up. Okay, so then on page,
Can we go back to the district library?
the district, which one, I'm sorry?
Yeah, the one you just were on.
The district office?
Yeah.
Sure. What do you got?
2210, the 9,000 for the tuition staff development.
That's the very next one,
Oh, okay.
actually. Yep.
Did I skip ahead?
Yeah. It's all right. We get through it fast. Okay, so here's what the conclusion is, and this is what's gonna have to happen. If you look in the column that's on the gold sheet, and it's gonna be page 1 of the district-wide, we have, hi Barry. Come on in.
Sorry, wait.
Okay, if you look in 1314, there's actual expenditures of 2,222, the difference is 6,778. That should have been fed into, essentially this should be moved to a different fund completely. So we are in the process of making this another complete fund over here. So the reason why it's printing here is because we have to go in and mess with the software, which we have our administrators working on right now to completely move this over. So how this is gonna look is there's going to be actually a beginning fund balance coming into 14-15 into the current year of 6,778. That will be the carryover from 13-14. What that will also mean is we'll have a restatement on our financial statements from 13-14. And our auditors are already aware of that. I made the call, so, which this isn't a big, huge restatement. So then 14-15 budgeted amount of 9,000 will also move over to the other fund. And then we've already went ahead and moved the 15-16 9,000 into our new fund, which will actually be a 601, so it'll be later down on the meeting, on the third meeting next week. And then with that, I believe that we will be about a 6,000 carryover from year to year. So you'll see that much clearer once we look at that 601 fund. But basically, that's how it reads in the CBA, and that's kind of where Ruthann and I settled at, was it's gotta be in another fund with a beginning fund balance coming into 14-15. So we moved that 9,000 out of, and created it actually as a transfer to the 601 account, which you'll see here in just a few minutes.
And so the transfer comes out of the Fund 100?
Correct,
And
because
where does that come in now? Or where is that at?
that'll be on the very next, in fact, into where your transfers are. If you look at the next spreadsheet, you'll see a line item that says a reserve account, which will be reserved for Fund 601. And that 601 will have that 9,000 plus the beginning fund balance. And like I said, we're kind of having to juggle that around because it's in 14-15 budget, and it isn't the easiest to get to. So they're working with it to move it over for us.
And how come cafeteria transfer doesn't show?
The cafeteria transfers come out of each building. So Union has a transfer, ADA in Fremont, and then LHS carries those transfers over. And we did go through those.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wasn't sure why
These
it
are,
shows individually, not as a transfer.
yeah, these are district-wide. We can't necessarily narrow down a building on. Okay. And the athletic fund and the construction fund will obviously, we'll go into those a little bit deeper as we move forward tonight, so that number could also change as we go along. Okay? That is Fund 100 on as far as the changes that were requested last time. Is there any other questions on that? Now, also, before I forget, I apologize. On the subs, we're about midway through that, so I apologize we didn't have it for tonight. Our goal, we'll try to have it the next budget meeting, so we can maybe try to fit that in, or maybe even on a work session at the board meeting the next week too.
I think just as long as we get an amount in the budget, the details can come.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
thank you.
Yep, so we are working on that piece. Anything that I might have missed?
So for Fund 100, what's your contingency amount right now after these changes were made?
Well, my contingency amount, I actually had some money left over net income wise. So we pulled out of there, kept going
So
to
it's stayed.
So, yeah, so our contingency stayed the same at 550,000.
So you increase your beginning fund balance.
Our beginning fund balance will actually, yes, it will, in the long run, yes, I apologize, yes.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions?
So that looks like it's actually a $100,000 increase over last year's budget.
It is, and I think, we haven't negotiated yet, is one good reason. The other reason is, We also have an insurance cap increase that may or may not affect, so I wanted to build into that also. And then the other thing is that the title grids that we have, it's looking like we are probably going to backfill in the general fund on those too at this point. So I wanted to make sure there was enough room there to wiggle on. Anything else? Everybody happy? Okay, so are we ready to move on to cafeteria? All right. Ready? Find it? Okay, so, again, I kind of went back and this is another one of those funds that I wanted to make sure that we kind of looked at prior year's expenses, kind of come forward and adjust if that needed to be the case. I'm gonna pull this up because I know I have some notes. All right, rock on. Okay, so food services, and miscellaneous revenue, I bumped it up by 100 to the 5,500 from 54. Otherwise, I tried to keep, and this is union, I apologize, it doesn't say union at the top, but it is strictly just for union. So our school lunch program, I'm anticipating about $1,000 more in our breakfast program, about $500 more. And of course, I anticipate a transfer of funds of about $37,000. Moving forward on the expenses, again, salaries and benefits are a negotiated item here as well. Food purchases, I increased that by a little bit, however, I did talk to, we did have an audit last week in the middle of all of this. The gal did come in and we're having trouble meeting a little bit of the criteria because of where we are, as to what the state and wants us to actually feed our kids. So the whole wheat thing, we just can't provide that right at this moment, as much as they would like us to. But she's done some research for us, which we've been wanting to implement the ORCAST situation. I just haven't got my feet completely underneath me, unfortunately. But we're hoping that in the future that those items would be available within the ORCAST. So that gives us different options besides Cisco or our common food deliveries from. Yeah.
The small bump at Union, is that due to the numbers at Union?
On the
Is it reflective of the attendance at Union?
on the revenue side.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are expecting a few more kids out there. I think Union, you're expecting a pretty hefty kindergarten class, yes? Maybe.
I wouldn't say hefty compared to years past. I had kindergarten around last week, I had 6
Okay,
attend.
okay,
So it means we're down about 4.
okay. And we're not losing anybody
No.
because we didn't have any 6th graders out there.
15 in the upcoming first grade and then 10 or 11 in the upcoming second grade. So.
Okay, so that'll stick with status then. You know, and the other thing too is, and I don't know how this is gonna play out, as far as all the rules that are gonna be behind this. But we have a free and reduced and then of course paid lunches. The reduced program, there's certain qualifications that the reduced will now return to free. And so I'm expecting that to slightly increase, but then I'm also thinking how many of those reduced are gonna fall out into the paid category also with the criteria that they're gonna have for us. And they haven't fully given us all of the information yet, they just give us the heads I would anticipate that if we can get the ORCAP deal going, that it'll cheapen things up for us also. Okay. Good. Any questions on union? Fremont pay is the next. Same rationale on that. For revenue, we will get some more from the state. But we also have the food service portion that, right now I don't have, I looked at we were budgeted at 34,000, and in reality, we are not gonna be at the 34,000, this year. Hold on just a second here, I've got some notes, I apologize. Currently, right at the moment, I have about 12,000, that was as of March 31st, that I'm actually collecting on food services, so I felt that I better drop that revenue down. I'd rather get more revenue at the end of the day than budget too high, and not have enough on that end.
Is there an explanation for that drop then? That's pretty significant.
You know, a lot of the Fremont hay kids can qualify for free or reduced. That's where the majority of them are. You know, I mean, that's what the majority of my applications are. So I think there's probably a big shift, you know, with either they qualify for income or they qualify because of, with the state already in the first place.
So those numbers have gone up this year dramatically.
Mhm.
You seen a shift of that magnitude?
Yeah, the free reduced numbers continue to climb. That last 4 or 5 years, it's been around about 5% a year.
So what's the percentage now, you know?
65% isn't it, yeah?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Free reduced, 65%.
Oh, gosh, yeah, at least.
We're at 75 at the high school.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of that.
And are lunch prices changing for kids anywhere?
We have not changed the prices of the meals at all. No.
Last price bump was what, 7 years ago?
Been a while.
Been a long time.
And I wouldn't anticipate in the future going, you know, there's just no way we can really do that. I think it's enough. I think it would be enough of a hardship on most, you know.
I think I remember the last time we did, but I can't remember what year it was. You guys. A huge surge in students not eating hot lunch at school to brown bag lunches instead.
The school and the breakfast, or the lunch, excuse me, the lunch and the breakfast program, I left the breakfast at about 20,000, which has been the same. And the school lunch is at 67,000, and to date we've collected 54. So I would anticipate with some of those reduced kiddos going down to free, I would anticipate an increase there.
Well,
Mhm. Okay. Alright, under the expenses, any other questions on revenue? Into the expenses, we've got our annual hood cleanings and that sort of thing, those stay pretty status quo. We do have a couple of fire suppression inspections that we have to do. And of course, paper, plastic, non-commodity food supplies, we were at 45,000, at March 31st, so I'm anticipating about 60,500. And then there's miscellaneous kitchen supplies, which stayed pretty much status quo. We are going to have a new software come in. It will probably be about 3,000 with $750 a month. The previous software that we were using is $850 a month, spread across 3 schools. So at least it'll be a little bit cheaper, and I think this will keep us in a little bit better compliance also. Some of the reports are antiquated and difficult to get to it now. But the new software that we've been looking at and kind of maybe have agreed on, it's going to give us all but the kitchen sink, just about. Also at Fremont Hay, we're anticipating the convection oven to go down at any moment. So they asked if that could be put in, which is about $8,000 to be put in there. Any other questions on Fremont? Okay. At the high school, food services are down there also. 21,000 is what I've got recorded as of March 31st. We've anticipated 38,000 for this year. I don't think we're going to get there, so again, I lowered that to 28. And the school lunch program, I did lower that down a bit. It seems like the high school kids are off campus more than they're on campus for lunch and that sort of thing. So, or they pack a lunch or, grab lunch outside. So I did drop that down. We collected about 33,000 off of them from the state. So I did lower that to 45. And then, of course, we'll have to have a transfer in on that. I'm anticipating the full 37,000. As far as expenditures, again, pre-status code food purchases, I dropped down a little bit. We have made $45,000 worth of purchases since 3/31, again. So I dropped it down from the 70,000 to 60,500 to kind of line up a little bit better on the food purchases. Does anybody have any questions in regards? Well, moving on to the TAL fund. And I'm just suggesting, what I would like to do is actually remove the fund from the whole shebang. So transfer what I believe is going to be the ending fund balance of $1,941. I know we've collected a few past dues on that, which has been good, but I just don't anticipate going back to using the TAL fund. I don't think we've had too many complaints as far as providing their own TAL and that sort of thing. So I think that moving that back to the general fund is probably the way to go now.
So they're using their own towel now?
Mm-hmm. We've done that for the last year, or for this year.
Is the school providing any towels for anything?
We have a few left, like we're using for games, for game management.
I guess that's what I was wondering,
But-
maybe there's a few occasions that
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
a towel.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a reason to keep any money in the fund for that, or is it just purchased out of other supplies?
We still own the towels. We still have all the towels that we've purchased. What was costing us was the laundry services and purchasing new towels and replacing towels, but we still have dozens of towels that we're storing, that if we use them like for games, provided for referees or for benches, we laundered them here. with using our machines here at the home ec room.
Okay. So, those machines in good shape, or
Our washing machines, yeah.
is that under a different fund, or is that just coming out of general? I mean, would it be wise to move this TAL fund money to whatever the home ec room fund is to have seed money for updating laundry machines if need be, or?
Well, your home ec is part of your general education at the high school, so it'd be in your general fund, if that's the direction you want to go. Which would be lumped at the high school, essentially.
And also sometimes there's Perkins dollars that one can access for any kind of equipment purchases, so CPE programs.
So any objections to
No, I think we should talk about
that?
it.
Hey, Jason, make you feel better, go for it. I do not want to stand in your way.
You think it's a newsworthy item?
Kurt had a comment last time about looking forward to the telephone conversation. Oh, yeah, Mr. Holman today instead, so
Oh, okay.
that's
Well,
us now.
You've
For his benefit, talk about towels.
Okay.
Actually, the cafeteria had a lot of discussion last year too. Yeah.
Good or bad? All right, well, my computer's having oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so, Fund 260, which is your ag farm fund. Bear with me here just 2 seconds. All right. Okay, so on your revenue for the ag farm fund, so interest on investment, that stayed pretty status. Donations and fundraising, I left that at the same. Rentals, I left that at the same, which includes, the property that is down on Stock Drive. We get, a portion of the hay sales off of there. And the other side of that, the dry land piece is, sitting stagnant till 6/30 of, 15. Right at the moment, we don't have a plan for that dry land piece. Whether or not it's, built back enough to go ahead and let somebody pasture on it, or maybe plant something out there. There's just been no direction on that as of yet. So I left our income status quo on that. Excuse me, with the intentions that we'll have a plan coming forward 15, 16 on that dry land piece. So now with that being said, we do kind of have another plan for the side that's being rented currently by Justin Carroll. We've kind of made a plan. The town last year cut us off of the water, let's say about mid-July. And so we do have the well out there, which we would like to start figuring out, get the pump down, get a pump down in there, and get some line on, some main line, which I've been kind of pricing around, and so that we could continue irrigating and bump up that acreage out there. So that's kind of in place. So we do have that on the expenditure side of things to drop a pump down in that well and get some more water going as soon as the town shuts us off, which might be tomorrow, I'm not really sure. So that's kind of on the expenditure side of things there, but, and then the miscellaneous revenue stems from their plant sale, which I'm anticipating about 6,000. Might be a little bit more than that by the time we get done, you're not quite closed out on the plant sale yet, so, so that might be a little bit more coming in than we anticipated. So moving down into the expenditures, I did bump up the repair and maintenance, to drop that, pump down into that well for about 15,000. And then I also increased our electricity, because that's probably gonna go up, even though we're on Spice Valley Electric out there, that's more than likely gonna go up. And what we do have in mind is, you know, as far as the main line is concerned in that, is it might be little to no cost, if any, you know, might be a donation. We're still kind of working on a lot of the details, but options to go on that. So I kind of figured 15,000. If you guys think that that's not enough, please let me know. More than happy to increase that dollar figure.
So is the sale of the hay, is it in this budget?
Yeah, last year, after July 1, when we got done, it was only 1,026 that came in off of that, so it was very well down. So we're trying to help him out as far as maybe trying to get that acreage up for him, help him out that way. And to, you know, I mean, he did get cut off for, I think it was like July 20th is when they cut him off last year. And so when they cut him off, he just went ahead and ate it. So it probably didn't go as long as it could have. It would be my guess.
How many more acres are there to develop on that side?
Ooh, Earl, do you know the acreage out there?
78, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
You talking the dry land side or
The dry land.
Yeah, the driveway side.
Roughly 80 acres there, 70.
78
West side.
78 to 80.
Oops, there's a water line.
We gotta get the water on
Thanks, God, for the rain.
it. Yeah.
So how do we feel about that dollar figure? Do we feel comfortable with that? Any suggestions on that, more or less? Give a ballpark.
did you get an estimate from like starts or?
Yeah, I do have one estimate, I believe.
Yeah, we got estimates on, we got estimates on putting the pump down. I had an extra pump I was gonna use, but didn't have pump a column. We got an estimate on running the pump column down and, hooking up the electricity. So that isn't,
Close.
that's close. It's probably not enough.
We might not, if we need to bump it, we are.
Probably should turn it up, I'd say 18.
18,
Yeah.
I think maybe 20, or,
20 wouldn't hurt.
yeah. I'm wondering about the main line too.
Can always spend less, but.
Absolutely. I'm gonna spend it less. 20,000, okay? Anything else? The electricity, I roughly went off of 2,000. I kind of figured on what I pay, which that's Pacific Power, so that's a way higher rate.
That's probably reasonable.
I'm thinking so,
Balance of the year.
yeah. Any other suggestions, comments?
We got it in that. Sounded all right.
Right.
Talk to Garrett about a cost share, that's gated pipe or something. Rather than. Let's save us some money. Water.
You still need somebody to rent it though and build it.
Yeah, we do. But the idea too is, to back up for you, Barry, is that we do have an ag engineer position posted in hopes that maybe that position can maybe come in and create something, there as getting something going, even if it's, you know, students or along that path, or maybe they wanna rent it out for a year, or, you know, it might be a good project for one of the classrooms.
I think our concern also was getting the water on the ground that hasn't been there for a while, so that it's flowing. Yeah. So programs available with the drought to do that, to help out with that? Well, drought declaration
Yeah.
in our county, yes. Well, we were just talking about the grants that you could get to purchase gated pipe or water conservation measures would lower our cost.
Well, the conversation that LCS would do some good.
Yes,
Mhm.
that would be who would do the, yeah, with the drought.
Yeah. I don't know if it'd be too late, but we could darn sure get it. I don't know what the timeline was on that.
For this year, we would be fine. Last year, you might be able to.
It's worth a phone call, darn sure that.
But, yeah, 20,000 budgeted would be, that would get us going, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'll be glad to call NRCS
He needs something to do.
Does he need something
He
to do?
needs something to do.
I can shout a few orders at him, that's good.
It'd be very good if you did that.
It would go over way well.
Didn't help.
All right. Any other discussion on the ag farm fund? Moving it up to 20,000. Anything else anybody can think of that might play into there that I most certainly missed?
No, that ought to get us going.
Okay. All right, so, with that, so that's 252.60. All right, so I think we're ready to move on to Fund 299. Jesse, are you ready over there? Okay. I'm having some issues over here trying to just stay connected, so I apologize for that. I do have a proposed interfund transfer of about 134,000. Last year was 137, and we probably will need that in 14-15 coming forward. Interest, I did drop down that a little bit. If you'll bear with me, I can tell you why. So it looks like this is kind of broken out for us. Okay, so if you move to about page 3, I increased the charges in the sports fees by about 1,000, and the athletic gate fees by 3,500. Now, my gate fees. So far, as of March 31st, we had collected 12,497. So that's why I went ahead and increased it to 13,500, anticipating the same attendance for the next year as this year.
We're gonna have one home football game additional next year too, so
Oh, so that
That
should
will
help
help,
us
yeah,
out a
right,
little
yeah.
bit. Okay. Okay, so 13.5 is probably pretty reasonable for that. The sports fees, we anticipated 18,000 in 14-15, and we actually collected almost 19,000, about $100 off, or $10 off, my word. So I did go ahead and bump that up to 19,000, looks like participation is up, I guess, huh? Okay, concessions and fundraising, status quo, miscellaneous revenue, that could come from anywhere, I kept that pretty status. And, so I broke out the athletic fund by the general, so we'll obviously need substitutes, excuse me, and getting supervision salary, that's pretty much lumped in for football, basketball, any of those is lumped into it as a general item.
Janet,
Yeah.
before you move off of that too far, where does the Booster Club fundraising come into that? Is that the donations and fundraising?
Donations and fundraising, it's wide open.
We moved to page 1.
Move back to page 1.
Oh, thank you, yes. 20,000 is there, and then all the concessions about 10. I left that pretty status.
Okay. Thank you.
So, page 2 is a nothing, we didn't put anything there in 14-15. So moving,
I do have a question on page
sure, on page 2.
2. Yeah. And I can hold this for later.
No, go ahead.
So there's no revenue showing from the middle school? But
Oh,
yet-
hold on, you're talking revenue still, correct?
What, page 2 are you on?
Well, I was moving on. Expenditures.
So when we approve middle school track, then you get that as a 1 year, prove it, and we're gonna come back to it and discuss it. I don't know, we haven't discussed it yet, but
Where are
I'm
we
thinking, in
sitting?
my opinion, there should be revenue showing for middle school track from student fees.
And we did kick that around, Jesse.
I have
There will
four
be,
people like
that, we didn't charge it this year.
understood.
That's gonna be, yeah, we should next year we'll start charging a fee. So, yeah, there should be
Both
some
track
revenue.
and volleyball.
Track and volleyball both, yeah. Some sort of fee that we need to figure out what that's gonna be.
So, Jesse, what do you think? Do you want me to lump it into our revenue overall, or do you want me to drop it out? And be specific to DMS?
Whatever, I don't know. If you
Would it
wanna
be
see where we're
helpful
at,
if you
then
guys
you leave it in
track
there.
it as far as what we're spending on track and volleyball?
Yeah, if you wanna leave it in there, you'll see where we're at for just the math. I mean, whatever they wanna do, whatever you wanna do.
Yeah, it makes no difference to me.
We're not having to create anything because it's already in here.
I think we probably ought to be, because then it comes back up on whether we're providing middle school sports, we can see what the true cost of that is versus, digging through the numbers and where they are.
Sure. So will that just include athletic, like gate receipts? Or are you gonna
Well-
charge them like you do the high school kiddos to play?
It won't be necessarily gate receipts, that's a conversation we need to have. I mean, we just started this, so there's some conversations we need to have to decide what we're gonna do with gate receipts. If we're gonna charge a gate, how much we're gonna charge,
Okay.
for those sports.
It should be a 1,700,
Mhm.
it'll be a user fee.
Just a user fee,
Mhm.
okay. Do you
So-
know ballpark how many kids you know?
Probably,
We got about 30 in volleyball and 25 in track, 25 in track.
So is that
Or 55 kids.
so is that what do you mean, 100 apiece, is that what you guys?
in the past, it was the user fee was the same for middle school as it was for high
It was
school.
the full fee.
And that, is that 100
Mm-hmm,
a kid?
mm-hmm.
So, on three. 1730. Jesse, what'd you tell me, 55 kids?
Yeah,
And it's at 100. Okay, we can add that in. And then, do you want me to anticipate at the gate fees or not?
no, I don't think so, but, no, I wouldn't.
Are you guys okay with that? Just user fee and then if we do get, just like down the line for, gate fees, then we'll have it. Okay.
Of those 55 kids that might end up playing, I don't know how many kids are scholarship or don't actually end up paying. If you have 55 kids, is it reasonable to think that all 55 end up paying the 100?
They have to.
Mhm.
Well, they do? I thought there was scholarships.
Well,
It's still paying.
still goes towards their pay. If they get scholarship, it goes towards their payment.
It goes into,
Mhm.
so it doesn't lessen the 5,500, it just has a different source. Does that make sense?
Not really, because I guess what's the source?
The scholarship. So
We
like
have
J-Lam.
a JLAM
Okay.
scholarship,
They're outside of the school.
and then it takes 50% of their participation fee. They pay 50, the scholarship pays 50, so they're still paying $100.
Okay. I guess I didn't realize that. I just thought that the school absorbed that.
Mm-mm. No.
Wow. So kids that want to play have to get a scholarship from somebody to play. We don't have a school fund that allows kids that can't afford to play.
Booster Club does some too, don't they?
No,
No.
It's just the J-Land scholarship,
just JLAM.
which is why you always have to buy ice cream
Sunday fair.
on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's a lot size.
Good to know.
I think
They're paying at least 50.
Yeah.
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 you're also hoping that none of these kids have siblings that are also paying at the top, right?
Shoes.
Yeah, the $200 thing in the pocket.
That's what's
Unfortunately, we've had enough in the JLAM, we haven't had to turn anybody away.
Good. Very,
Yeah, I would
good.
would be
Oh,
in.
yeah, it's a huge thing.
Okay, so I will add that revenue source as revenue. Okay,
Okay.
all right. So that should take care of revenue. Are we good on revenue? Okay, so, basically just the salary stuff coming from, the general, so that's also from the negotiated item. So if we move on, ready for, football. Now, Jesse, you and I talked about, just remind me, we talked about the concussion tests.
Yes, so the football increase, you'll see a lot of that's just a safety thing with the impact test. We were under a kind of a consortium out of the Ben Pine, and they provided our impact testing in the past. That is gone now, so we're kind of under the umbrella of OSA for that, for a much reduced cost. But we did have to figure in impact testing for all of our kids for the concussions. And then also another fee that is going to come down is the heads-up football, which is just another safety thing with football right now. And it's going to be required year after next. So we just started budgeting in a little bit for that because we're going to have to do it. And it's a training program. We got to send coaches, one coach out to get trained, and then the rest of your coaches have to be trained. So it's going to be a little bit of a cost for that. So.
And Jesse, just to remind me on that, that's that HUDL that I have.
Oh.
No.
Oh, that's a
That's a different deal.
thing.
Okay. Okay. I was just making sure that.
So where's that impact test at? Because I'm not seeing huge increases anywhere.
We believe we put it in consumables,
Okay.
went from 15 to 25,
Yes.
yeah.
You know what, or did we put that in sports medicine?
We put it here.
Doesn't soccer have to do the, don't all of them?
We, all of them do, all of our
have
kids
to
do, yeah.
I was thinking, hold on. Oh, we put those impact tests on sports medicine.
Yeah.
Do you want me to move it, or do you want me to leave it there?
That's
Is
fine.
that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the huddle and the heads up football stuff.
On the football?
That's why that bumped that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, okay. So the sports medicine is the, section has the impact test later on down the line. Okay. Let's see, that's about the only specific thing on the football ground. Oh, the next page is page 1, of Daily Middle School volleyball. So we're proposing also for stipends in that, which I think I budgeted for that, but I believe that'll be a board member, or a board meeting discussion, is that correct, Jesse? Okay. And then supplies and durable supplies, I think we pretty much put them in line with us, with the high school volleyball. I'm certain both of this thing works. So on to high school volleyball. Any questions on the junior high piece of it? Nothing significant other than adding a stipend. I think I budgeted for it. I think it's also come back to you guys, like Dustin had said, a review after the first year.
And is that, would that then be on the schedule, the coaching schedule? It's
There's a
Yeah.
section.
set.
There's a spot there, yeah.
There's a set for middle school.
And I think I have them split in the 7th grade, they're split in one section,
Yes.
is what they're doing.
You know, you said you got 30 kids out for volleyball in middle school, and I can't quite tell which line you're paying for the uniforms on. But that's, is it $500 you have budgeted for
Where
30
at?
uniforms?
It'd be, there's a volleyball DMS.
We have uniforms for them already,
Okay.
so we have some old uniforms that have been passed down from the high schoolers, we have lots of uniforms for them,
Okay.
yeah.
That can be an expense.
Yeah,
Right up there.
Okay. Okay, on the junior high volleyball? Okay. High school. Let's see here.
I have one question.
Sure.
Should we pay refs for middle school?
yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Do we need to add some?
Well,
Or did you lump it in the high school?
no,
Okay.
we're gonna need to add a little bit for officials.
Okay.
And for some reason, I think that's maybe where I put durables. I don't know,
Oh,
we're gonna need to add some.
219.
It's usually, yeah, it's a 319 account, so I don't know, there is a limit in there.
let me see if I have any notes. Jesse. We didn't make any notes on that.
Okay.
So do you want, you said a 310?
319. 319.
Sorry. So 319, and what are you thinking there, Jesse?
Yeah, 5. Yeah, probably 750.
You think 7:50?
Yeah, there's 5 Zooms, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so, adding in on volleyball for, the middle school, reps at about approximately 750 as an expense item. Let me- Okay, anything else for middle school? Good. High school. Jesse, I have a note down here for antenna and some new balls or durable supplies, bumping
Yeah,
it
but-
from 250 to 1,000.
Well, 250, no, it's the bump in that is the new net.
Oh, okay.
That was an emergency
Yeah.
measure, it broke right.
Yeah.
Started to turn and we're like,
Yeah.
oh.
So that's what that's the bump in durable there, is the net. Everything else is staying the same.
Okay. All right. Any questions on high school volleyball?
So it's paying 2 full-time coaches,
Mhm.
varsity and JV.
Mhm.
2 total.
The travel out of district is for the, is that for playoffs or is that,
Mhm.
that's not a tournament or anything?
That's gonna be, all league meetings and then playoff travel.
And then a little bit of per diem on the coach. also.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it says that here. No. Any question on volleyball? Or Stephanie, you got something?
I guess I'm just surprised at how close it is to football.
Overflow on the outside.
Yeah, so I keep looking at where is that?
Well,
One thing
your,
that-
your volleyball high school is gonna be 16,000, but your football is at 28,000. So you might be
Oh,
picking up the
I'm
wrong
looking
line.
at the wrong line.
Yeah.
20, okay. So I found Okay.
Are you
My
okay?
6 many kids and the equipment and, yeah.
We could find it by wins and losses.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Might be a timeline issue.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Okay. Are you okay with that?
No, I couldn't find it. I'm like, something's missing.
Yeah, you kind of have to ignore that total, it's because how I ran the reports. I spit them out by football, volleyball.
Got it.
So some of that might,
That's got middle school.
yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of confusing, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay. Deep breath. Okay, so cross country is my next, page in there. Looks like everything's pretty status.
Yep, nothing changed.
Nothing out of the ordinary there. The next page is a boys basketball, again, that's spit out on the, I call it, whatever, we don't have, the boys basketball. So it would be on to high school boys. A throwback.
Anybody else want one?
I will, please, thanks, Will.
Boys basketball, is that where we're at?
Yeah, we're at boys basketball,
see for boys basketball is they're up for uniforms this year, so that's the increase there.
And then you've got a little bit extra on the referees. It seems like to me the referees cost us a little bit more
Yep.
this year.
Yep, they were a little more this last year, so we bumped the referee up a little bit.
Yeah. There's a bit of about $500 increase in budget there. Uniforms come out of, 16. Terminus, oh, this also qualifies for that huddle thing,
Mhm.
also correct? So that's an increase in consumables there.
How often do we buy basketball?
More rotations every 4 to 6 years, more than that.
Any other questions on the boys? Okay, so the next item should be wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm loving this thing
And wrestling.
today. Okay, so it looks like nothing changed in wrestling, huh?
Nope.
Yes. Oh, durable supplies, they got.
They got uniforms last year.
Last year.
Yep.
Any questions on wrestling? Good? Okay. Girls basketball, again, we don't have DMS, apologize. Girls basketball, again, they're up for uniforms also this year, so there's an increase there. We bumped up the referees, they cost us a little bit more this last year.
Is that 319?
Yes,
$3.99,
yeah.
yeah.
So same with boys, it's just referees and uniforms for the girls.
Any questions on girls, anything that jumps out at you? Okay, so then we should be on to, middle school track. Again. Again, a stipend proposal there, which would be split, again, along the same lines as the volleyball, between two. And consumables and durables would stay the same as the volleyball, 150 and 500.
And we won't need any official fees in this, obviously, so that should be pretty accurate.
I'm guessing we're okay on it.
Yeah.
Any questions on that? Okay. So then back to the high school, they are also up for uniforms?
Yes.
Oh, they will be happy to do that.
Oh, we increased the durable supplies also by uniforms, but there was a high jump in that.
Well, no, there's a
Hold on.
There's a new requirement for pole vault, that we have to have a pole vault collar that we got this year. And that collar, what it's done with our mat is it's made it too squared off. So when you put the pole in there, it hits that mat and it's kind of dangerous to kick that pole out. So we were able to find a different mat that's slanted that allows the pole to not come in contact with the mat. And so that's also in there.
Any questions on track? Okay. So I have athletic director up next, looks like. Consumables we increased and durables we increased. Do you want to expand on those?
The durable is just we have game help at football games, our chain gang, folks that help us out that we don't pay. So I put a little bit of money in there in order to give them some booster club gear, whatever it may be, buy them a hat, buy them a sweatshirt, something like that they can wear to games when they're helping us out, and all the stuff that they do. So chain gang folks and people like that. So that's what that is.
Otherwise, straight across. Any questions on that? Alright, so then sports medicine, again, we kind of discussed that with the impact tests are included in there, so that's got bumped up. Boys soccer. Let's see. Looks like everything's pretty much the same except for they got uniforms last year, so there'll be no uniforms this year.
Yep.
Boys soccer. And on the girls soccer,
Same.
same deal there.
Mm-hmm.
Bless you. Alright, baseball.
That's stayed pretty much the same.
Yeah, that's pretty much across the board.
Yeah.
Oh, the only thing we did is infield conditioner and purpose. Did
Yeah,
I put that right?
Yeah, that's the same,
Okay,
same amount, yep.
okay.
Why do we have a big drop in the first period?
Oh, let's,
Associated payroll cost,
There.
let me see where you at there.
200.
1,025.
Most of those have been going up because of that insurance rate increase.
On this one, one of the coaches that is, coaching is not an employee,
Okay.
so he wouldn't be eligible for first. Softball,
Softball didn't really change, pretty much the same again.
something different in here. We didn't put any tournament fees in, no tournament fees. We had some last year.
We left it the same, they paid that out of their club account.
Oh, their club account, okay, no worries. Okay. All right, any questions on the softball? So should be FFA Ag, which, we budgeted the same for 1,600, basically that includes the sectional leadership, state ag sales, state convention, and, CDE days, correct?
And various contests throughout the year.
CDE days, but not so much maybe. Okay, and then we should have the band. Travel and dues and fees stay the same. And along with that is the vocal. Oh, you'll have to go to the next page. Go to page 2 for choir.
Janet, could I go back to that?
Yeah.
Is there the extra duty contract, should that show up there? Or did we already go over the extra duties,
We did. It went in the general fund.
showed up there?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So, choir. Looks like everything stayed about the same. You guys put in, for solo ensemble and honors for 400 on dues and fees.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed there. That stayed the same. Oh, no
Yep.
dues on that, Jesse?
On what, on
On,
annual?
yeah,
It's there.
no,
The dues?
yeah, I see it now. Sorry. So next up should be the ASB. And that's basically just an extra duty stipend on that, so that's also with the negotiation. And that is probably, that was the middle school. The next page should be high school. Again, that's the same, as far as a salary. I think that is everything on. On the athletic fund. Any questions on any section? The whole thing.
I just have a question about the ASB. These two are not listening tonight, so
Oh.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just have a question on the ASB. Why the salary first pickup stuff went down?
On which one? Which one are we?
The high school ASB.
High school ASB.
Probably different instructor, different.
Because we're anticipating that to be different next year, yes, on high school. Did you say the high school?
It is, but if anything, shouldn't it be higher?
I'm not sure why it's in 299 to begin with. Where are our Fund 100 extra duty contracts that we went over?
Well, most of our, well, do you want, we can put the ASB in the general fund
Well,
if you would like to move it. Because I'm under the assumption that your ASB will be new next year.
where's our middle school ASB?
Should be right.
It is that.
Isn't that off a salary schedule?
Just this one where you're coaching.
So why would it go down, why would it go down?
It should be.
On your, but on your LHSD, are you not having a new advisor next year?
We potentially could, yeah, but
But do you want, so I guess, do you want me to go higher?
yes,
Okay. Which step?
top step.
You didn't see her.
Going for the gold.
Just go all the way to the top.
You asked.
I guess I left that wide open, right?
Silly me. Yeah.
So that cost us, what, $300?
What is the very, do you guys have that right there?
Yeah, it's in group 5 and A, or E is 1816.
1816?
1,860.
Okay.
Not quite 300.
So,
Ish.
ish. Okay, so we'll move the ASB high school to the top for Mr. Croft. Okay.
Like the ASB, middle school.
Yeah, middle school's there.
Why
The middle school is
there.
there.
Yeah, you got the old hand doing middle school.
That's right.
You got the
Is-
novice
Is
doing.
299 strictly
Gracie
athletics?
is right there.
Wow.
Gracie is right there.
Why is it that?
Well, I thought it was because of what's on the salary schedule, is why it's moved there, is that not the case?
What's that, what did you just ask?
What's
the
things that are
definition of the
inside.
Fund 299 to be in Fund 299? Like, if it says athletics, then why is band and choir and FFA and other stuff in there?
299 is all extracurricular.
Yeah. that's
Any
different.
extracurricular?
Yeah.
Oh,
Not extra duty contract.
Then why is it FFA in there?
Well, we can, I mean,
Well, I'm wondering if it has,
so all our donations.
it can't do with OSAA because you get annual and ASB are not OSAA. Band and choir are OSAA, so to me that makes, and they go to OSA. Yeah, so that makes sense.
so do you want me to pull the FFA out of the general fund and put it into
But that was,
299?
it wasn't an ad.
I think the
Even
confusion,
that or
if you don't mind me interjecting here, is our description and name of the Fund 299 is athletic fund. So I think we need to relook at if we're going to be using it for a catch-all for all extracurricular, probably need to rename that fund so it isn't so confusing.
It's called the extracurricular fund.
Yeah, and so people know.
Right.
And I think that's,
And we can most certainly do that, I'd be glad to do that. So do you want me to move, would you like me to move the FFA stipend over to the newly named extracurricular fund?
What else do we have in that? Is there something else we should go over? What have we talked about those?
Those two, the FFA and, you know, that,
SAE?
that SAE might.
That's
might be-
different.
Yeah, that might be realizing themselves.
Yeah.
At one time, it was all in the ag farm fund, and I don't know why,
I don't know why it
I
got.
don't know why it
moved
got all
right now.
shifted around.
I'm not sure why it isn't either.
You know, well,
It,
tags in that too.
Pardon me?
Tags in that place too.
It is.
Yeah, that's what they
so we can darn sure move, would you want to move the FFA into extracurricular, or we could revisit putting it back at the ag farm fund?
Well, if we have FFA travel out of 299, and we should have FFA.
Well, and if you recall, you've got travel out of the ag farm fund and out of this fund also.
This is for contests.
Yeah.
I'd say the extra duty contract belongs in 299.
Okay. Is everybody else okay with that?
The egg farm. The egg farm travel is for national conventions.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
just as long as the definition is communicated, people know that's exactly what it's for. That's my own point on this.
And I think we're just moving the stipend from the general fund over to the extracurricular activity fund.
Sure, that's what it's,
That.
I don't care where it is, as long as you have a good definition.
Is there,
Review. You're moving FFA, ASB.
well, the ASB is already in the, is in the, 299
Right.
fund, but, I need to bump up the high school ASB dollar stipend figure, to the next step up from where it's currently at now, and then move the FFA stipend, over to fund to the fund 299.
Okay.
Which will also in line with the travel that we did on earlier here.
I just was thinking a booster club goes into 299, making sure that
Oh, yeah,
that doesn't change what we.
does that affect anything?
I don't think so.
Just putting the stipend back in here.
Yeah, moving from general fund to athletic, or,
Right.
To
No,
pay the
I don't think it changes anything for us.
okay, so that
I
was,
think the boosters are very inclusive, it's just not athletics, I mean, there's a lot of academics they support, and a lot of extra. So I see that as a pretty good relationship, very easy.
Just making sure we're not supporting something. It's all staying right. So that's,
I don't think that there's any other extracurricular activity If you'd like, we can take a break.
Now you guys don't get a break.
TLA is 3-letter acronyms.
The equestrian team.
They've been
I'll be all set.
Remember, we're here at 8 in the morning.
You know, run
Yeah, I
those.
saw that. Here. You want to put here?
And then you'll have a white.
Oh,
2 days in a row, I had dreams about
Syndromes.
You haven't that guy just.
We're having there too.
That
when do you know for sure? June, well, July, August, it's August, right? When they'll finalize June 30th books and know what revenues go to education on corporate paper.
We know that
And your name started.
Yeah, I actually, my problem was, and I, I should have taken it.
Does that work?
Yeah.
that brings us to Monday, about 7.
Is it 8:30? No, it's at 9.
So I stayed.
Wanting to go to the next level,
Okay.
that's
And it'll be clearer, we just had to go back.
Look at this.
Very guest, very fancy.
Yeah, so yeah, okay.
How's the recovery?
It's been going well. I'm feeling good.
Yes, and I actually found 3
Life's good.
that I missed. And
Now, how did you?
I think, so when I post, I had pulling those, or leaving them where they are, and then missing some for the rest of the.
I've broken the,
But it's been
this small hair, and so they put a cadaver bone in and push it back where it's supposed to be, so that you feel it should fit that all together.
the which part?
Your bones, that's just.
No, that was in this year, but see that is which was supposed to be minus.
And it could be a problem.
Which I knew about some people were not, I didn't realize he made it. Yeah, I didn't. So we'll just leave those in general as they are, and then, move everybody else to that 601 fund, so. And if they don't have a school finance, I've got another spreadsheet that kind of clears it out, and that's how it will look, in case they don't have something like that, so. You English people. Oh my God, do not bring that into Amy. Because that reminds me.
What is this? Part-time board member? People got a baby kissing session somewhere that we don't know about, $1,000 fundraiser?
Yeah, we have, it's on all of our state boarding. They have to-
How to do it. Yeah, good.
We can hammer this out.
Really?
So they were back actually early.
Good. Wow.
They were just tasting this. You're fine.
Yeah.
Doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah.
So we have one more one. That's it. I'm
I agree.
And the DM is, so the biggest issue was. Yeah, let's go. Why didn't you know how that works? But I say don't like.
He said, oh, it's raining. I said, you need to back up. Changes everything.
People running on like,
Right, but if we do that,
I'm all done.
Well, I'm leaving too.
Yeah, let's go.
You didn't show up last time.
No, it wasn't too bad. Part-time, full-time.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's for a vet.
Okay, since we only have one more, I mean, we could probably do this, don't you think?
Okay. But she was just seeing people get up and stretch. Energy is not a time.
Janet, do you think that there's a chance we could get through the rest of this tonight?
well, actually, all that's printed out is, the remaining 450 fund, and the reason why I did not, print out any of the other funds is because I had to go back and do quite a bit of checking. And so I've been a little bit scattered, so I apologize, because otherwise I'd have loved to have had it here for you tonight, and had it cracked out and be done. And that was kind of my goal, but it just wasn't working, and I don't, my theory is I'd rather take my time and not have a mistake in there that will be costly to you. So, there's been a lot of back and forth with, transfers and that sort of thing, so and I apologize. Next year I'll be more better at it.
That's okay.
All better. So I apologize ahead of time, but I just didn't feel comfortable pulling all those telegrams and the little bit that we do have left.
Okay.
So I do apologize, I was gonna have it be, wrap it up in two, but it just wasn't working. Right. So.
It just means you have to bring cookies to the next meeting.
I can do that, just for you, Will. I'm not gonna bake them, but I will be sure to bring a store-bought.
You're not gonna sort, you're not gonna sort.
What's that?
Yeah.
You could subcontract it.
I could subcontract, you're gonna do it?
With the budget.
Let's fund.
Desi!
The official baker.
I've been cooking.
Sure. All right. Okay. Okay, so fun stuff. Fund 450. Okay, so, where's my friend here?
Left.
Okay. Oh, did he leave?
Yeah.
Oh,
I didn't
sweet.
know that was on.
What? What are you doing there? Me, don't even think about it.
That's not how that works.
Yeah, me too.
You're gonna dock his pay, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically we are anticipating about, let me see here, about 30 grand in the donation, and that surrounds the soccer field. At this juncture, it keeps changing. So today, I'm roughly about 30,000. The things that we would like, well, I guess, excuse me, we still have rentals. The teacherage is rented out, and that gets us to about 4,200, which is on this very next page. And, wait a minute, wait. I don't think my page got pulled out. I'm really hoping you guys are not looking at one that says 30,000 contributions. Oh, good. This one's mine didn't. Okay. So scratch what I said about the 30,000. So the donations for the soccer field, we're looking at about 15,000, which is estimated right at this moment. The Rotary has obligated their 4th of July, is it the duck race? Thank you, the duck race. And they're anticipating probably about 15,000. And then we have the rental at 4,200 out of the teacherage out there. And, let's see here. On page 3. Union, I left in the 15,000, I bumped it up from 14,697 to an even 15,000. If we were to do the other side of the teacher rented out, we would have to do some asbestos and abatement, and then we'd also have to do a little grading in there. So I left it in the budget at 15,000 in anticipation that we might want to do that. And of course, we pay our electricity bill out of there. And property insurance and taxes also come out of this account for the teacherage out there. Okay, then, that was that. Bear with me here a second, guys.
So on the teacherage, maybe I missed this, what's that $10,000 for the building acquisition and improvement? Is that the remodel of and the asbestos abatement?
Actually, that's what I was just getting to. The 10,000, what? Wait a minute. It's almost like we have something. Oh, good job, thank you. That is actually the Union Playground. The Parents Club approached, well, they have raised funds to the tune of about almost 25,000 to put together a new Union Playground out there. And the board agreed to pitch in at least 10,000. Plus have our maintenance guys kind of help out directly and take lead on that also. So that 10,000 is designated for the Union Playground as our in-kind. There you go. Yes. Great. Yes. Okay. The next page. We haven't had a lot going on with Fremont and Bailey. I apologize because the way it prints and the way I have stuff here is two different things. Okay, so this, on page 10, you'll find there's 70,000 proposed. What that has to surround around about is the moving of the greenhouse over to LHS and hooking up the ag shop and the greenhouse onto the geothermal and finish the paint booth in the ag shop so that we can continue to grow the CTE portion of our ag department. So we're estimating about 70,000 to have that happen. The ag shop going on to hook up to geothermal and finish ag shop. Which then that also lowers down our propane bill, which they were so kind to offer me a discounted price the other day. $1.19 for propane. I told him, hold off. I am hoping I can get this thing moved. So, so that should alleviate the propane cost between both of those because they're still hooked up. The greenhouse and the ag shop are both hooked up to propane currently. With that, they'd be hooked up to geothermal, so eliminate that. Then the 6,000 on the next page is kind of a carryover, is track repair and replacement, which also there was a note from Mr. Getty that also that might have included maybe looking at the tennis courts with that and or maybe repairing off of the track. I left that in there.
I wonder if we should increase that. Should we increase that every year to build it up to where it's gonna be enough?
Sure.
Because,
For the track.
yes, what's that gonna be when we finally do that? About twice that much?
Okay,
Or more, way more.
way more.
So we probably, I mean, I don't know how much we can do this year, but maybe we should increase it a little bit, like a placeholder to
Sure.
accumulate.
Sure. I mean, what do you think it, I mean, what's the big,
Probably 10,000 a year for 5 years.
To refinish it.
awesome.
Refinish the track?
Yeah,
have to
it's
do
probably
that
got,
by surface
it's
every
probably
so
got,
often.
it's probably got
isn't
10
it?
years, maybe, yeah, it's probably got 5, 7 years left.
Okay,
You're gonna have to refinish that within 10 years.
within 10, okay. And so, what did you just tell me, 10,000 for 5?
Well, 50,000.
Minimum.
What do you guys think would be a good number to, I mean, what would you like to see it bump to this year? Another 6? Make it 12?
I think anything, yeah, I mean, whatever we can do.
We can try it at 12 and see how that plays out.
Sure.
Is that,
I mean, that's a start, that's all
sure,
I just know it was gonna be
right, right,
so.
okay. So we'll,
How do I do this?
okay,
Ask a lot of questions.
Well, there are.
Yeah, I think that was discussed.
I remember Mike Getty mentioning that last year.
yeah, he loves it.
So you switched it to 12?
Yeah, we'll try it at 12, we'll see if we can't make that work.
I'm not sure if that's enough. I'll probably add another 132.47.
It's 12,150.
It seems like that's always the top 47
So
is
what?
the tennis courts. Like they're the same, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Some of those are
Those,
Jesse, you need to come to Park and Rec and pitch your priority.
okay, so we'll work that around to try and get that up by 6,000, make it a total of 12 there. Okay, the 28.5, we're estimating, and of course, I do not have the fencing lined out, I don't have an estimate as of yet. So I tried to buffer that for that fencing, the 28.5 to finish, what's remaining on the soccer field.
Estimate for the soccer field or something, but it doesn't. you don't have
No, I
it.
said I don't have, but I tried to buffer it by that. All right. So our bleachers,
That's a start, right?
we have it split, a preliminary estimate from the top to the bottom, correct? Okay, and so at least we would try to shoot for the bottom, because we think that's a little bit more hazardous right at the moment.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Well, that's, the estimate is right around there for the lower half,
Oh,
yeah. So we're right there for that anyways, so.
And that will get us, it will get us a ADA compliant.
Down there, yeah.
On the bottom.
Everything they do has to be obviously the code, so it would all be the ADA stuff and
Correct.
Walkways.
Yeah. walkways, railings.
Shorten it up a little bit.
Yep, we're gonna shorten it so you can walk behind the benches,
Some loosened seating down below.
I think the,
all of them on the,
everything on the bottom, both banks on the bottom. And I
Is it-
think the seating down there, I can't remember the exact number, I'd have to look at the email I got, but it is gonna lose, you're gonna lose some seating, because we'll have to cut some rows back, but we're still gonna be at like close to 800 capacity for the whole thing. I believe is what the number was. So,
Is it, how much do we save if we have them do the whole thing?
So, and I don't, when I first initially talked to him a while ago, he said yes, it would be. And then when I talked to him again, not as long ago, we kind of said, just, let's look at the lower half, and he mentioned it again. So I don't know, that I can find out. I don't have a number for that, how much we'd save. I think the tearing down and getting them out of there, we'd have a savings there, so we'd be doing it all at once. I don't know, for sure.
Also the co-op pricing?
Well, the price is the same.
Oh, it
They
is.
cover the 2% fee for the co-op.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, if we use it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So is the top gonna run about the same amount? I mean, obviously there'd be some savings, but if we did it individually, would there be?
The top end's gonna be quite a bit more, just because it's bigger. Well, not quite a bit more, it's bigger. Obviously, it's gonna be, I think we're talking 8 rows down below, because right now we're 11 rows down below. If we took 3 rows off, we're gonna put it at 8. And then, so you're thinking the same length, add whatever the gap is for the locker room runway we have. And I think it's up there, it's 12 rows, 12 or 13 rows, something like that. So it's gonna be a little bit more than down below, I believe. So, I think about, when I preliminarily looked at it, it was gonna be around 105 to 110, I think, to do both, top and bottom.
I think that's.
I believe is what I sent you, yeah. So,
Where's the company out of?
well, we've talked to 2, the one that's the kind of the main, they're out of Kent, Washington. They install Hussey, it's the Hussey seating, real popular brand. It's the ones that are over in Cascade, the ones that they just put in for Cascade not too long ago. It's those bleachers there. So.
So there's gotta be some mow costs for them.
Mhm. Yeah. So,
So we'll look in on the discount, how much it would actually save us to do both sides to see if that's feasible.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, that's the money you don't have, but if it's, I mean, that would be something
Consider,
mine,
right.
that needs to be done.
Well, and 2,
Depending on how much we, yeah. If it's kind of like, but
Well, that's what people do, is just get rid of the agreement and not do it to
Decide to do it
decide to
later,
do
just
it.
get rid of it. So we should like, if we can't, we can only budget it, try to.
try to,
And then if we can't afford it or don't do it, at
Mhm.
least it's there.
Sure.
As opposed to if we get into it and say, well, we should probably do the upper section, and we gotta go back.
And
then
then,
budget.
yeah, we can, I'm sure, look at that,
so
see if we can make that work. Because I think we were about 110.
the quote for just the lower half that he sent me, obviously it's pretty rough, they haven't been down here, this is just me kind of giving them ballpark measurements. Materials delivered and installed was $48,500. And then to remove and retain the existing bleachers would be another $3,000. So we're about $51,000 for the lower half,
So that's the lower half, right?
the whole lower half. That's taking everything out and installing the new stuff. And it would be 8 rows. I'm trying to see how many seats were down there, because I thought it said on here, but I don't see it anywhere. And that's with the power, obviously, everything. Yeah. But I don't have an accurate, a recent one for the upper. I have to get that, which I can do that, call him back and see.
It seemed like it was, I think with the tear down, at least the initial back when, it was probably about 110 total.
Yeah, I think it was.
I think.
The number of seats, okay, there we are. So about 246 seats down low. Even when we cut 3 rows out, there'd still be 246 seats down there. And there were more than that up top, I know, because we have more rows and there's no gap. So we lose a little bit because we don't have aisles now, so we're gonna lose some there. But
Does the top have to be ADA too? Because, I mean, you can't get up there.
Yeah, I don't think they I don't believe they can install anything that's not this day and age. Yeah, so. Good thought though.
That's our problem.
But I think that too, we were just talking about, I think we can lower the cost up top too, because I don't think we need to go quite that many rows either. We could reduce the rows up top too, a little bit, which would knock a little bit off of there.
We can look into that and bring it.
Be great to get it all done.
At the next meeting.
So then are they electric, or are they
Yep.
open and shut a lot better?
Yeah, telescope and the rails, the ones we're looking at, the rails collapse, they stagger. Some of them you have to tighten when you have to pull them out, you have to tighten them and loosen them before you retract them back in. So this one, you don't.
So this one will have rails in the middle too, like aisles, not just on, okay.
Cause that's what keeps, we're not compliant with what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, again, I think that's just, I think you have to
I
now.
was trying to think of Cascade Christians and where,
And
if
then-
they had railings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of felt like maybe they don't, but I'm trying to picture.
No, are they fiberglass or wood?
Fiberglass. No wood.
Blue gold.
I was gonna say.
They'll
they're
say
not
honkers,
brown.
they'll say honkers on them.
LHS would be
Or
brown.
else, you can say honkers too.
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He sent me a drawing that says honkers.
Oh, cool.
Okay. What do you guys think about putting the whole man in there?
To be honest, I liked, it seemed like a natural split to do it over 2 years, because I don't know what your priority list is. So if bleachers is it, okay, but in not knowing that, I can't make
Well,
a comment on that.
I could probably tell you that the teacherage is probably not a priority on the list. The union playground is, the soccer field is. We are still toying with the bus maintenance shop, and I'd like to make that a priority. Because of the fact that I do have a really good mechanic on board, that's making it easier in my life. So getting him out of the rain and the cold hot, or the hot cement, would be nice. So to me, that would be good. Now, I haven't got an actual estimate, but I do know that there's a 3-bay shop that was built. Of course, the cement slab was already down. They didn't pour any cement whatsoever, but 3 bays at $80,000. So I kind of roughed it out. We did have on the books for $34,000 last year as a start, and I bumped it to $70,000 in hopes that we'd be somewhere in the ballpark on that. But that would be a priority, I think. And then, of course, the greenhouse and the ag shop. That's one of those things that, part of that ag shop, the greenhouse would get us to where we could offer more CTE besides just one class in the spring.
And the bus barn could potentially do that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot behind that. And, there's a lot to consider behind that as well.
Is there, I don't know, they used to do like a list of like hay school and windows.
That
Is that
is,
still?
well, and that is a whole nother fund. Yeah, so that's a whole nother fund, is that SB 1149 fund, which has been on my back burner for this year, but certainly has not been forgotten. But we do have some funds built up in there where we could start working on that and getting that taken care of too, but it would be on another fund.
The one thing I really want to prioritize and get on this list eventually is the hay playground.
Oh, yes, which I think we've.
We already have quite a bit of money in the ASB fund, we have quite a bit of money in the parents club, but there's still a long way to go. I think the projected cost in that was like 98,000, something like that, yeah.
And so, and maybe, do you know where where we would end up at down the road on that, Will? As far as,
Well,
What
my
needs to
plan
be-
is to use the funds we already have internally, and my plan is also to, the Rotary Alliance, Sir Optimus, Collins McDonald, they've all, I'm kind of letting these other fundraising venues, such as the soccer field and everything,
right,
and the swimming pool, run their course, and then, I'm gonna get letters and start going around, on the mashed potato circuit, so to speak, and campaign for the Ag Playground as a project for all these, service clubs for next year. That's what I have in mind. So.
right. And I was under the impression that we were gonna be around for at least a year on the back end of the new playground.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So
after
you-
we just had to get these other things out of the way first, new playground, soccer field.
That's one of the things I think is yet to be determined by the board is the board just approved some district goals a couple months ago, and one of those district goals is creating a long and short-range facilities plan. And part of that is the prioritization of, okay, what comes first, what comes second, what is our most important priority? Is it bleachers, is it the ADU playground, is it windows, is it, what are the priorities? And so the most we've gotten at this point, we've got a huge running list of projects that need to be accomplished. We just haven't gotten to that point yet of prioritizing what's the most important and what isn't. And it's hard to do that because they're all important. Remember, facilities is one of those things we've kind of backed off on during the years of recession. Where it's definitely biting us right now.
So I'd still just follow your lead. If
Well,
you
I
wanna
think-
see that bumped up right now, okay.
Well, I think we need more information, so
Okay.
why don't we,
And also, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but the other thing is that, during one of my, I went to a PACE one-day deal, up in Redmond, and they are doing like a walkthrough, which I have scheduled that, but it's not till Friday the 29th of May, of course, but what he's essentially gonna do is walk through all the buildings, even get up on the roof and things like that, and kind of give us here's what you better do, here's second, and I thought that would be very helpful because that I'm new, obviously, and I don't know what is absolutely, we gotta have this right now kind of a thing until it breaks and, somebody comes screaming in. And so I thought it would be very helpful to have a prioritized list. So I do have that coming. That doesn't help us today, but obviously. But I do have them coming, so it's not till the 29th of May. Yes, Desi?
Who is this PACE guy? Why is PACE important?
They are an insurance company.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think our thinking on bleachers was if there was a significant enough savings to do both sets at the same time, then it would already be in here, but it doesn't mean that it's a priority.
Right.
When is it coming?
That's kind of what I was
What's that?
thinking. If it's,
The
a
29th.
couple $1,000.
Right.
Change it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other thing.
Yeah, it's probably-
You need more information.
The other thing with the PACE information, is as they give you, kind of detrimental, not so much. But say for instance on the bleachers, if, say for instance, we can't afford to do both sets of bleachers, this coming next year, but we can save 10,000 a year, or whatever the case may be, then they know that, and if something does happen, then they're a little bit more likely to help us out if we do have such a claim that, somebody got fell down bleachers or something like that. Well, PACE knows, okay, they've got a 3-year plan, there it is in the budget kind of a situation. So I found that to be extremely helpful in that, keeping us out of that liability with our insurance company as well. So it's kind of two pieces to that. One, to help get us prioritized, and then two, keep us out of any holes, liability-wise. So just a food for thought, so.
I think we'd like to have some more information, kind of the significance of the savings. If
Sure,
we,
absolutely.
it's just a little bit or if it's a lot.
Right.
I'll find out, I'll get that.
and we should probably also shore up the number
I mean, we have 50 in there, but if it's gonna be 54.
Yeah, you better bump that
Oh,
up.
We might as well make sure
Make
that
it.
we have the amount.
Cause I mean, we want them to just take, I'm assuming we want them to take the bleachers down and get them out of here, we don't wanna deal with that, maintenance guys deal with that, so. I
Yeah,
would bump that up a little bit, cause it was like 51 is what it was gonna
That's
be.
some historic wood. Maybe the shop has to figure out some kind of fundraiser, make some things out of those.
But we're anticipating that the upper ones would be probably 30% more than that.
did we decide that
I mean,
the
it'd
upper
probably be
ones were?
closer
I don't think they're gonna be that much more, because I think the total, if I remember, I'm thinking back a long ways now, but I think it was like 105, 110 for both. So I'm thinking like 60-ish, somewhere in there.
So for, probably, I mean, maybe we should be bumping that to 65. And then we can try to get some of that across. Have enough to cover it plus carry that next year.
Have a bill for this. Okay.
But it'd still be good to find out what the significance is, if there is one.
If there is a good. Okay, so Jesse and I can work on that. But yeah, we can definitely get more information and then bring back something maybe that might work. Okay? Okay. And of course, you know that there's, we've got the asbestos issue. We have to have certain training, which John Roberts is the guy for that. I left 10,000 in there for abatement and testing, and now that's anything on this side. That didn't include the teachers is on its own out there, kind of a situation, and it's kind of district-wide, so maybe we can look at that 10,000 as wherever that might arise, because we all know that, it's out there. And then he has to do training every year, with that, so about 3,600 is in on that. I don't know if we have a wiggle room there, as far as making that lesser or more.
Kind of one of those, it is what it is.
It kind of is. I mean, we can't escape it, we all know it's here, so, that's one of those things in here. Okay. 30,000. Okay. Okay, so the 30,000. I have two things happening. One is roof repair, and the other is trying to put some money away for roofing. Which is on the next page. Oh, roof replacement is on the next page, I apologize. Which we do have, we've got a couple of issues. Is it the auditorium room? Oh, there's two of them. I haven't read out the LHS roof. The LHS roof has got a crack in it, however, it's not, they have patched over the top of it, but we wanted to get some money going towards that, so when we can do it, do it. I believe that we've had somebody up there, looking at that to make sure that, is that a priority today? And it's not. They've concluded that probably within the next couple of years, we would need to do something with that roof on top of LHS. And then there's also, I believe it's the auditorium. Yes, okay, the auditorium is the other piece of the puzzle that is probably gonna start having some issues pretty soon too. So, we have some old roofs, and I do have an estimate on the DMS auditorium, about 3 different types of estimates. One is about, the top end of it, I believe, is about 34,000. The bottom end was about 25,000. The top end being is where it overlaps and there's no screws. What do you call that?
Lubricators? I know what it is.
Yeah, it's on the tip of my tongue, but it overlaps when there's no screws on it, which is what they would like to have done, obviously, but that was on the higher end. So we need to start looking at the roofs, which that goes back to, I'm hoping that Pace Guy can enlighten me too on how big of a priority is that. Do we need to have that done ASAP, or, can we build up to that and get that done? So, those are the 2 roofs that we have that are in question.
So is there kind of past practice to build this every year though? I kind of feel like,
Well, and I left it static this year at 30,000, but from last year, so we could bump that up, obviously. I don't know, but if we gotta do 2 roofs, you figure you probably have the one almost covered, the auditorium, but then the auditorium might hold out longer than the LHS roof too, so.
So do you have 30,000 in that account from last year, and then we're gonna put?
So I left it static at 30,000, but we can, I'm sure, up that number.
So we have 60,000 in there now?
No, I left it static at 30,
Okay.
but we can move it. I mean, I'm glad we moved it up.
And what was the 30,000 for on the page before? Does that have anything to do with the roof? Oh, that's painting. Okay.
Paintings. And the idea is there is to eventually get every single building. Eventually.
So we were thinking if we put a jumbotron in the LHS,
A what?
the gym, we could do for the ILC, for synchronous classroom, we could replace the bleachers through the grant.
There might be some grant funding.
There we go.
Yes, that's right. Okay, good job then.
I don't know, it kind of seems to me like if you've already got a crack in your roof.
I don't know, yeah. We, they did say that we were okay at this point, and they don't know don't know what sliced it. It looks like somebody just kind of went by and sliced it. But they don't know what exactly. Who knows what could have been up there, because it just appeared there, so. But the bigger picture of that is do we want to replace the whole gym? No, not really. So, you're stuck between maybe, I don't know. Maybe having to build up a bleacher fund and replace the roof first might be what we need to do.
If the roof leaks and it gets on the bleachers and the bleachers
Bleachers are metal. Right?
Yeah.
Mostly that gym floor, I'm not ready to replace the gym floor. That's more of my concern.
Lose that floor overnight.
So the roof was an occurrence though, something happened? Wouldn't that be an
No.
insurance claim?
Well, they're not 100% sure what happened up there. I mean, they don't know if it was over time, they don't know if something actually got up there. They're not 100% sure at all.
So they couldn't classify it as a claim, because it was unknown why we had this crack, it was just suddenly discovered when our maintenance guys were up there looking at some other stuff.
Like they were there 1 week and went back the next, and that's when they discovered it. I mean, that's how the time frame was.
And that's not an insurable claim? That's a pretty,
All those earthquakes made out.
Well, or an act of nature, you know how insurance now doesn't pay for practically
yeah.
anything they can get out of,
Yeah.
if you don't know what
And
caused it.
it's an old roof already, so.
Well, and
Oh.
my goal is, I'm gonna get Paul from Peace up there. I mean, it's my ultimate goal of trying to get on that roof, so,
So
But-
should we increase our roof replacement fund?
yes,
I
yes, I
would
would think
suggest
so.
you do.
Okay.
What do we feel comfortable in increasing it to? Another,
How much money are you giving us?
What do you have
Not
total?
much.
Yeah, what do you have total in Fund 450?
356, 690. Now, with that not includes the 12,000, up to 12,000.
Say that number again for those of us that are number of the challenge. 356.
5, 6, 690.
Okay, so it's already $356,000 in that fund.
Our paper says 350, 690.
Oh, that's because I bumped up the 6,000 on the
Oh.
spreadsheet, sorry.
Okay, 350.
So the question is, do you want to increase that?
And that does,
When you say 70,000 proposed for 15-16, you're talking about increasing that 356,000 by 70. Is that what you're suggesting?
70's in there.
570.
Interest rate, right? 15-16 proposed 70,000.
You are not looking at your
Roof
packet.
replacement.
That's the top one.
You are not looking at your packet I laid on your desk right there. What did you do with that?
Front.
That's not where it needs to be.
Oh, okay.
Everyday shop.
So you changed that then?
I did scale it back, but then the more I think about the on LHS, I mean, I agree, totally. I just scaled it back.
Well, we don't have the playground in there yet.
No, we don't.
So what's the estimate on replacing those roofs? Do we have any kind of a ballpark on that?
Well, I know that the auditorium, I believe I have two.
Auditorium's 25 to 30.
One is one kind of roof, and then the second one, which is a little bit more spendy, is the one that covers up
It's that rubberized
the
continuous material.
the screws or whatever. And that's the higher one, which is about 30, roughly 30.
How about the high school gym?
I don't have an estimate on the high school
I
gym.
saw an estimate once at 35 on the high school gym. But I think that's an old
I
estimate.
was
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna say, I
that's a
don't
lot.
I haven't seen that.
So we're gonna, like, in hopes that we don't have to do both roofs in 1 year,
Right,
can we add like 15,000 to that right now?
sure. And then maybe we have a little bit left over to start again
Yeah.
and bump up.
I feel like every year you've gotta put money in there.
Oh, God, yeah.
Every year.
Yeah.
So
You do?
I wish I could.
Jenna, can I ask you a question?
Yeah,
So I'm on page 15. How much of the 30,000 from last year was spent?
none. We didn't do anything.
Okay,
with
so I
this.
could be completely wrong, and I probably am. But it looks like there's 30,000 more proposed for this year,
No,
according to this
no.
paper.
It's 30,000 across the board. So you're looking at 14-15 budgeted numbers, and then you're looking at 15-16 budgeted numbers.
So the 30,000
But the
from
30 should
last
be
year
already there
didn't
from last
carry
year, though,
over?
right? It didn't
It's-
carry over?
It's all in this Fund 450. So that's just a line item of expenditure in Fund 450. So if it's not spent, it goes up to that beginning fund balance. And then it's all distributed through how she's planning to spend it.
But we can darn sure increase it.
So it's not a maintenance reserve, that's
Right.
a line item expenditure.
Well, I heard a proposal to increase it by 15,000, right?
That sounds good.
Does that sound reasonable? I mean, at least it would cover us at least one roof, I would think. Okay. just bumped it up from 9160 to 10,000.
So is that, so we don't have any actuals on that, so is it?
About 15. Okay, so the 16,000, that's, that is the same as last year's. And, had it for, union, miscellaneous, district-wide miscellaneous, maybe even the district office kind of was combined in there according to Mr. Getty's notes. So I kind of left that to roll right back over.
Okay.
And then the bus maintenance shop is
That's the bus maintenance shop.
yeah. And I'm hoping that it's less than that. But then again, we've got concrete to pour, and, a slab pour. So there's possibilities around that.
You said it's 3 bank.
No, I had priced a 3-day, or knew of somebody that just did a 3-day, and it was $80,000.
I was thinking Jesse would be happy if you kept the middle bay open and you put up some batting cage nets in there.
Some what?
Some batting cage nets. So our baseball and softball's not heating up the, although our weather's been great. Yeah, but when it's bad, they need somewhere to go inside and hit.
Not as June, is that what you're
Not as much.
Now you're gonna be fighting with John Roberts.
He could get some fundraising support perhaps if you stated it that way.
Ah, there we go.
It's a combo.
So I'm kind of hearing a little bit more research on bleachers. Bumping up roofs by 15,000, and bumping up, oh, the track repair, up that, by 12,000.
And then we need to create the line item for the playground, unless that's in the Fremont.
It's not in the Fremont, but we need to. I guess I just kind of need to get a feel, Will, for what you think I need to set
I think we need to look at some
aside.
projects, prioritize it first, and then let me do my fundraising on my end.
Okay. So do you think maybe leave it off this year, but then put it on next year?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah. Prioritize it, I worry about roofs, I really do.
What's that?
Roofs.
I do too,
No.
yeah. Roofs are a big deal.
Especially LHS, I concern me hearing about that.
That's why
You get a big leak in there, you destroy the floor, it's a double whammy,
Right,
so.
Well,
but.
We could build some dollars into the playground as a saving thing or whatever.
well, that's what I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
thinking we'd be expending it, but we'd be,
Building it up, yeah.
As a placeholder.
as we say, yeah,
Sure.
so, the place gets started.
We can talk,
Absolutely.
we can have it, we can have something in for the next round.
Okay, well, that's what I'm thinking is kind of,
Just to kickstart it.
yeah, do a little revamp on the 450 and then run
Right.
back.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Because then I need to also, because then we're transferring from the general fund too, so, we gotta look at that too and make sure that we're not on the road bench there either. Plus, we do know that we're probably gonna end up with a little bit more revenue, from what came through, what was it, Thursday, Friday-ish? And I am expecting to have, a new state school fund estimate this week. So that might be super helpful with us making determination, at least on the 450.
So keep in mind with the May forecast, because there was an increase, the House Bill 5017A is going to set aside 40% of that increase and send it to K-12 schools. The state statewide, we're talking additional 105.8 million. And that takes the funding package from 7.258 billion to 7.36 billion. And they're hoping that they can at least hit the 7.4 billion mark. This is from a lot of lead legislatures that are in charge of K-12 funding. But all that depends on other factors, such as we do know that the kicker tax is gonna kick, you know, and if they're gonna try and get above that 7.36 billion mark, that becomes more volatile or at risk with other things that come up like the kicker. So I think what the estimate that OD is putting out for now is going to be at the 7.36 billion level. So we should have that by the time we meet next. And anything above that, I would say is just pure icing on the cake. And I don't think we'll really know until, could be July, August, even September, October. It's so hard to predict that.
Well, that's very true. They did promise us a new revenue, or a new, state school fund estimate this week, so I would anticipate in the week I have that. So yes, definitely, for the next meeting.
So the next item on the agenda is public input and discussion. Is there any? We already inputted. I did wait my turn, I'm sorry. So, Wednesday, May 27th at 6 p.m. back here with cookies.
So later this year.
They might be pretty crispy.
Can't think I tried to.